right, so let's take a look at what the dailies are saying. Abuja Inquiry is where we'll start off from. Our guest, as always, Dayakin Tobi. It looks like, okay, not exactly the same color, but we're close.
We got the memo.
Dayakin Tobi is a public affairs analyst who will also break down what is going on with the papers as far as the national dailies are concerned. Dayo, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And I'm sure you're looking at what is happening in the polity as far as this is concerned. But let's get to first. Today, let's start with the Abuja Inquiry. They are leading with Tinubu supporters may cause unrest. DSS alerts X. Secret police pressure X to delete post. Amnesty, Sowore activist kick. So we understand that there was a post made by Omoyele Sowore. I think he used the word maybe I may not be able to use on air to describe the president and made a statement. And perhaps we understand that according to him, the DSS has taken responsibility, according to him, to report his account to the social media platform to say, look, take this guy out. But this is not the first time we're seeing these kind of things. But I don't think, I would check, but I don't think the DSS has acknowledged that they have done that or not. What do you make of this particular headline?
There's a conflict between the right of freedom of speech and things such as respect to an institution. Within the context, if you look at it very narrowly, within the context of freedom of speech, anybody is free to criticize the administration in unglamorous terms. We don't have to sugarcoat our commentary simply because you want to be decorous. So he has said what he wanted to say, but the presidency is taking offense to it, that this is insulting. You have to respect the institution, no matter what you think about the individual. The presidency is something to be revered, to be respected, and to be dealt with courtesy at all times. That in spite of you having the right to speak your mind, you can't use certain terminology, and they've couched it under the guise of the fact that it could be inciting, that the followers and the admirers of the president could take this up and take it negatively and begin to have public disaffection. So remember, freedom is not absolute. You are free to swing your wrist, but your freedom to swing your fist ends where my nose begins. So not everything can be couched under this notion of freedom of speech, freedom of association. Things like, you even look at Nupeng now fighting for the right to unionize, and they're using this thing about freedom of association, that Dangote doesn't have the right to stop his tanker drivers from unionizing. So we have constitutional freedoms under so many different areas of human activity, but there's a limit to where these freedoms can go. They can't just be totally unrestricted. And you look at it and you say, in a public forum like X that is seen globally, is it proper to describe the president of the largest black nation in the world with certain inglorious terms? It is disrespectful, it is uncouth. The fact that you have the right to say what you want does not give you the right to debase the leader of the biggest black nation in the world. So whether DSS follows up on it or not, I hear they've invited him. DSS has not confirmed or denied. But the truth of the matter is, we should, in public commentary, we should be circumspect. Just like you said a minute ago, I can't use this word on television. I can't say it. Right. Perhaps if you couldn't say it on television, maybe somebody else should not also be able to say it.
Maybe the social media has a different set of rules.
Absolutely. But that's what we're saying is, even though it's social media, certain rules should be able to apply. It can't be the wild, wild west simply because it's online.
On the Abuja Inquiry, Mr. Keto, before I leave, next week is lurking. Parents are like, oh, Lord. School fees. School fees. If they've not paid already. You know, usually it's about, oh, let the school resume. Let these kids set out.
Yeah.
As Abuja schools resume, parents groan. And the first liner says, parents in the Federal Capital Territory are counting in their pennies as new school session commences on Monday. I think this has to, their they're pandering around issues of costs of everything. What do you make of it?
Well, it's interesting that Abuja is talking about it because it's a nationwide phenomenon. All schools are resuming this week or next week across the country. And what's also interesting is that there's been this very big conversation in the last few days in Lagos about house rents and how astronomical those costs have become. So by the time you now look at house rents escalating, you add school fees that are coming up, you add inflation in the marketplace for food items, you say, what's going to happen to the poor Nigerian man? Then, of course, there's a 5% tax that you're going to talk to Mr. Oyedele about tomorrow.
Tomorrow is a big day.
Which we don't know yet if that 5% is at the pump or if it's at the point of lifting. So we don't know if it's either way. That 5% is going to add to our cost. I've heard the argument that, well, it's not a new tax. The Minister of Finance has the right to implement it when he sees the time is right and the environment is conducive. All of the explanations around it, the bottom line is going to affect your pocketbook. So Abuja parents, Lagos parents all across Nigeria, well, this is a cross you have to bear because at the end of the day, your children have to go to school. So sacrifices have to be made here and there. Perhaps cut out the DSTV subscription, cut out some other non-critical.
The cable network will not be happy with the statements you make.
Well, the bottom line is we might have to sacrifice football for education of our children. Wow. So some things have to go. But at the moment, there's little or nothing the individual parent can do. The point is the economy is tough. Costs are skyrocketing. You can't blame the schools for increasing fees. They too have costs to pay. They have diesel costs, they have labor costs, they have feeding costs of the children. And so it's a knock-on effect at the end of the day that when costs escalate, inflation is up. The cost of delivering services goes up as well. So I don't blame the schools. They have no choice. If they want to stay in business, they have to raise their fees. And the bottom line is when school resumption time comes, every parent starts to have palpitations because you know the drain is going to be on your pockets.
All right, let's get to the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard is next, is leading with one of our conversations today, but let me hear your input. I know you've said it in passing, Dangote Nupeng face-off. FG moves to avert nationwide strike. I know that they're meeting this morning. They've been having all kinds of informal communication. That the formal communication starts today, this morning. Someone's feuding parties to emergency meeting. Oil workers disown direct trucking drivers association because even within the labor force in the subsector, they look like they are not together. Some are saying we will go ahead with our work. Others are saying no, we ain't doing it. Say body creation of union busters, NLC rally state councils, industrial unions for showdown. Falana asks FG to call Dangote to order.
I don't think we need to ground the nation to a halt because of this disagreement. I don't think it rises to the level of the kind of economic disruption even one day of a strike will cause. So this issue of unionization versus Dangote bringing in his own trucks to supply, I think as a business person, your thought process is completely independent of the social effects. You're simply looking at what is my bottom line, what is my profit. I think that if he has his own trucks delivering fuel directly to the pumps, I think it'll have a benefit to the average man.
I think the argument is not that. The argument is the union.
I know. I'm coming to it. But I'm saying that if you look at the cost-benefit analysis of going on strike simply because we don't want unions, I think that those who are applying to Dangote that want to drive his trucks, if they're already aware of the fact that this man says, I don't want my workers to unionize, they should go and look for work somewhere else. As far as I'm concerned, look, they have International Labour Convention that says workers have the right to unionize. But the fact that you have the right to unionize doesn't mean you must unionize. Did they ask the drivers themselves that, are you saying you must unionize? Some of them are ready to work. They just want to work and earn a salary. They're not interested in...
The suspicion that this is the back door by Dangote refineries for monopoly.
Yes, Dangote has always been accused and believed to be a monopolist and trying to corner this. If he is being a monopolist and his monopolization is benefiting the common man one way or another, which is what I was talking about, if he brings his 10,000 trucks and corners the downstream sector all the way to delivering to the pump, and it reduces the price I pay for fuel. Will I not be happier?
So there are three people involved here. There's the business people.
Yes.
Dangote and the people who they are fighting with.
Yes.
And then there's us.
Yes.
For us, every fight is good for us as long as it brings down the price.
Price. Yes.
The union people are fighting for security of tenure, their job losses, and all of that.
Yes.
Is that not a valid argument? That is why the MBG is bringing them to the table.
It absolutely is a valid argument, and that's why the Constitution guarantees the right to unionize, because there's power in numbers, so you can fight for better working conditions. And I empathize with workers, but workers cannot hold a business person who borrowed money to create it. You can't hold him to ransom. He has the freedom to organize his business as he so pleases in a way that will enhance his profitability. This is a capitalistic society. If we want worker protection, let's go to socialism. Let's go to communism. If we want 100% cradle to grave welfare, whereby everything is guaranteed and protected, then we're not running the right type of system. We have free markets here. We have capitalism. What that essentially means is survival of the fittest. You've got to find a way by which, through your own, the sweat of your own labor, you sort yourself out in your own little ecosystem. So I think that there's a lot to be said for both sides of the argument. I empathize with the workers, but at the same time, I recognize the right of Dangote as a business person to maximize his profits. That's the bottom line. He borrowed money to do all this. He has to find a way to make that money back and pay off his debts and make some profit for his shareholders. That is important too.
Well, there's something, maybe we'll come back to it, but I'm seeing just beneath the picture on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, interest rates, manufacturers look beyond banks for survival. I know that the president has said that they met the target for, I think, non-oil sector.
In August.
In August, yeah. So, because, you know, when he said he spoke as a politician,
yes,
to a good extent. It's the facts are there, yeah. Because when you're talking about revenue, you have to look at oil revenue from oil and non-oil. So
yes,
it's for speaking about that. But people it's now wonder, okay, you've done that, why are you still borrowing and all of that? So our job is to provide context. Politicians will speak as politicians. You can't help them. But this other part that has to do with manufacturers looking beyond banks, because the good thing about what he said, if it is sustained, is, I've forgotten the term. If I remember, I'll say it. But when government goes to the private sector to mop up too much of the liquidity to run their own project, more than the private sector can have access to that amount of money, is really bad for business. So if they free up that space for private sector to do the borrowing, it's good for us. But there's a term that is being used. I've forgotten what it is. But let's go to the New Telegraph newspaper. 2027, lone opposition party going against APC may fail. That's according to the Labour Party. Party in consensus with Obi on it. Says confluence of all progressive opposition forces to emerge, take certain critical decisions. Bivo joined ADC in a hurry. I don't even know what to say. I'll leave that to you.
Well, we have a template for that already. Remember, in 2015, APC came into existence by being a coalition of other parties. So, to some degree, yes, if you start up an opposition and you are going alone into the game without bringing in other sectoral powers, you have a tough road to hoe. So, any viable opposition is a coalition of interests. So you see ADC, you see different people from different places. Aregbesola is coming from APC, you've got Obi coming from Labour, you've got Atiku coming from PDP, and you saw Gbadebo Rhodes Vival crossover from Labour into ADC this past weekend, the immediate past Lagos governorship aspirant from the Labour Party. So yes, no particular political entity can win elections in this country without having widespread appeal. And to have widespread appeal, say even in just the geopolitical zones, or 6 of them, to be able to do that, the way our politics is structured, we still play a lot of ethnic and religious politics. So we have parties that are strong in certain areas. NMPP, very strong in Kano. APGA, strong in the southeast. Labour, strong in certain areas. So if you've got to have so many states or so many regions to be able to win the country, you've got to have that kind of mass appeal. And to do that, you have to bring together all of the players in those various regions. So that's what essentially that article is saying, is that if the ADC thinks that, or even Labour or any other party thinks that by themselves they can wrest power away from the APC, it's not going to happen.
With somebody like Tinubu who has never lost an election, and who did he?
How do you define an election? I heard somebody arguing the other day, oh, he lost Lagos in this last election, and somebody was saying he may have lost Lagos, but he won the election, and the argument was, what is an election?
This is why they are suspecting that he is responsible for the instability in all other parties, because this is not the first time we're having opposition, but almost all the oppositions are in disarray. Now it's turning to a violent tone. But it's people, they are denying all of that.
Yes.
But, our concern is, as long as you guys are not killing each other, it's really none of our business.
Exactly.
Just put out the best candidates across the parties and let Nigerians make decisions.
Yes.
Before I let you go, the Guardian newspaper quickly is leading with something quite critical for all of us. National Grid faces 5.6 trillion naira revenue loss as premium customers exit. So we're looking independent power projects by manufacturers. You and I, who are being banned by Band A, we're looking at solar and all of that.
Wind.
And wind, and the federal government is already owing them a lot of money. And so this is a convoluted situation. What do you make of it in like 2 minutes?
Yeah. People are getting creative with alternative power solutions. You see, even individual homes that are going off the grid now, that are using inverters and have banks of batteries powering their homes. Yeah, the electricity sector is in chaos, and it does need to be restructured from the ground up, because as you see, if manufacturers, if industrialists, power is so critical to everything that we do. And if we're not getting it, or we're not getting it at a competitive price, it complicates the entire economy and the value chain. It does. So when you see individual homes going off the grid, you see all these solar panels on people's roofs, you know that the situation is critical, because now we are generating our own power. We're already generating our own water. Now we're generating our own power, because we know we can't cope with the way the electricity sector is delivering services to us now.
I must thank you so much for coming on the program, Mr. Daya Akintobi. Always enjoying your perspective on this. We hope for a very beautiful week ahead, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you
as you set out to all of your endeavors. As we begin to get, I heard today we may be having a lunar eclipse.
Yes.
I think somewhere around 8 p.m.
Yes.
It
kind of started last night. There was something called a bloody moon or something.
Yes.
Something happened in the...
Was it yesterday night?
I saw something last night.
Okay, I'm not sure. But I think I saw it on one of the papers.
Yes, I think it happened last night.
So in case you didn't see it, maybe we'll see it again. Don't follow me here, but Nigerians are meant to see it. But must thank you. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Wishing Nigeria a very great week ahead.
Absolutely. And from here, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk security. And this is serious. 5 of our soldiers, we understand, have been killed by this dastardly terrorist, and including several of our civilian population somewhere in Borno State. The governor had to visit the place to commiserate with the people and do what he can. But how long shall we continue to lose our people and even our soldiers that will spend a lot of money to train? That's a question on our minds. We'll be asking the people who understand this space, and it's important that you be part of it, because security of citizens is a primary responsibility of government. Join us in just a moment. We'll be right back.